Hello friends. Today we will discuss about the what is the Bohr's effect actually. So many students have a problem or so many confusion regarding this Bohr's effect of the how does exactly the transport of the oxygen and carbon dioxide done. So hence I have made it easy for you, and so today we will learn about the how the transport of the oxygen and carbon dioxide take place by the Bohr's effect. Remember friends, this effect is occur at the tissue level. So by a visualization of that how it's exactly occur, we will study this process. Suppose I have drawn here, this is a tissue, and think that somewhere from this the capillary is this whole world is capillaries, and this is a RBC, that is red blood cell. This is not actually more than in size than tissue, but for sake of our understanding I have drawn this big than its actual size. This is RBC, that is a red blood cell. Now, in this process, first of all, what actually happen is things which are present in RBC help in this process. How? Let's see. Carbon dioxide present in the tissue, which is manufactured by the ATP production, it gets into the RBC due to the diffusion. We know that. What actually happens here? Water, that is H2O, is already present. Hence, CO2 is get attached with the water and form the substance which is known as the H2CO3 is formed by this process. Now, remember friend, there is a carbonic anhydrase, which is the enzyme which regulates this process. Hence, after forming of this H2CO3, this is a unstable, most unstable we can say compound. So as soon as it form, it goes dissociation and form H plus HCO3 minus. Now this H plus and HCO3 minus is formed by the dissociation of this. This process is also regulated by the same enzyme, that is a Ca. We will write it something like this. Okay, so this both the processes, or I even want to say that all the processes occur in the RBC during this diffusion. Most of them are helpful or are regulated by this enzyme, that is a Ca, carbonic anhydrase. Now K plus is already present in the RBC, and NaCl, that is a salt, is present outside the all RBC. What is here outside the RBC? It is a plasma in the capillaries. Some of the CO2 comes toward this RBC, and many of them also goes in the plasma. It's remain in the dissolved state. Now what happens here? This HCO3 due to the concentration of the ions, it comes outside, and after coming the outside, it reacts with the NaCl. This is not a minus first. It reacts with the NaCl and forms NaHCO3, sodium bicarbonate, plus Cl minus. Now as we can visualize from this, that as ions or all the negative ions have higher concentration in the plasma, so to maintain this balance, this concentration, this chloride goes inside the RBC. Now after this chloride go in the RBC, this phenomena is known as the chloride shift, as chloride ions maintains this balance, hence it is a chloride shift. But now what happens with this K plus is that there is most is not possible that all the HCO3 goes outside. Some of them also react with this, that is a K plus HCO3, hence form. And this H plus, which is formed in this process, goes with the, as we know that it is a oxygenated blood, because it has come from the heart, or the from the lungs to this tissue level. Hence it is full of HbO2, that is hemoglobin plus oxygen, or oxyhemoglobin. Hence this H plus which is formed here goes toward the HbO2, that is oxyhemoglobin, and this hemoglobin dissociate and forms plus H plus, it forms HHB plus O2 plus O2. And this is the last thing of our this process is that this O2 comes out in the cell or a tissue toward tissue. This is happens as O2 directly cannot diffuse and come in the tissue. Hence, after forming all these things, O2 diffuses from the hemoglobin and comes in the tissue. So friends, this is all about the Bohr's effect. Thanks.